What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So you're in an unfamiliar spot here. This is my home garage. I hadn't filmed here a ton. Actually, I don't think I filmed any of my YouTube content here, but just a couple things. Usually I don't work on the race car here, but with all the stuff happening in my friend circle, though, Brian doesn't have enough room anymore for me to really work on mine over there. So I had to kick it back to the house, which Kelly's happy because, you know, I can work in the garage and then go in and out. And she can task me with other duties while I'm out here getting greasy. It is nice to be able to just, when I get done, cut off the lights and go. House garage, though, you can see it has turned into the last 15 years, 10 years, well, probably about 10 years now. I used to do it all over here. It's turned into a shop, right? Like a storage. There was no cars in here. It's just all being stuff. And so now we organized it a little bit the last couple of weeks, spent a lot of time yesterday getting it more organized. So I still got a lot to do. I'm gonna build a shelf and stuff in here. But today we're gonna start working on the Saturn. If y'all saw the other video, we messed something in the motor up. We don't know exactly what it is, but there's some type of problem. It sounds like a rod bearing is messed up. It sounds like it's spinning a rod bearing. And I'll let you hear it here. I'm gonna put the in car from when I shut down, you'll hear it. So I'm pretty sure it's got a rod bearing. It's possible it's something in the top end of the motor, but most likely not. Oil pressure, the way it went up, we're pulling the motor out regardless. Comment, like, and subscribe. If y'all want to support the channel, go to turbojohnracing.com. Grab yourself some hats and t-shirts. Thanks, guys. All right, guys. Milton come over here to hang out and help some today, too. Appreciate him coming over. It's always fun. Me and Chase got it out, and luckily we have a little slope here. It's a little slopey, and we were able to get, once we got it to the slope, it rolled on back here. I had nightmares of getting on my open trailer and pushing it in when it was broke. But luckily Chase is old enough now to help me push. So that was a good thing. So we got this thing in here. The other thing we were talking about, we've got this toolkit here. Chase got me this a couple years ago, and that's what we're going to try to. I'm going to try to put most of my tools in this so that when I'm in the house garage, I can actually bring that out of the trailer, work on it in here, and then put it back in the race car trailer. Because the goal, I don't want to have to buy two sets of tools, which I told Milton when he got here. I was like, luckily the Harbor Freight's only like 10 miles away, and we may make some trips to Harbor Freight. I don't know how it's going to work out. So we're going to get this thing tugged apart real fast. What we're going to do first, I think the best game plan, this is full tube chassis car. It's easy to work on this thing. Super, super easy. We could unbolt the front end to make it a little easier, but if you notice, the motor is kind of exposed. I mean, the way this thing is set up is crazy. It still amazes me that this thing sits under a hood of a Mustang. It makes no sense to me on how that works, but it is in the Saturn, it's way up. So we're gonna go ahead and snatch the valve covers off first, look in there and see if we got a rocker arm flopped over anywhere. Probably not gonna be the case. Go ahead and get the turbo kit off of it, get the valve covers off, the heads off, the intake off, and then once we get all that stuff off, pull the heads off of it. Hopefully none of the pistons are turned sideways. There was not an oil slick in the trailer, and the diaper is not full of oil down there. So that's a good thing. So hopefully we just got a bearing that is spinning. Maybe we have not hurt the crank. Rods in this motor are pretty old. We're second season now on these. We're probably 250 passes on them. So my plan, my goal was to take the rods out at the end of this season. A lot of times I run them until they take themselves, until they vent themselves out the side of the block. But today, hopefully that is not happening. I don't think we broke a rod, but it is, you never can tell sometimes when you pull that pan off. All right, let's pull it out real fast, see what we got. All right, guys, making progress. But turbo kit stuff off, all the rocker arms. There are no obvious issues with rocker arms other than they're a couple miscolored, but that's okay. We have mismatched rocker arms. It don't hurt my feeling none. But there is not a lot of material in the valve cover, so that's good. A lot of times when you spin a bearing bad, you get, I don't know how it happens, but you get a lot of gold up here. There's gonna be some in the lifter valley. Unless we got lucky and we really caught it early. Hopefully that's best case scenario. So hang on. All right, guys. Well, we were able to snake the headers off of there. Milton was able to get down in there. It was kind of hard to get to with our wrench that we had. But we found the problem hole. We just pulled all the plugs out of it. One of these is not like the other. Oh, let's see. Is it? Can you see it yet? Can you see it? That is mechanical damage. Obviously the tune was good. So that is hole number 6 is the winner. If you are the proud owner of hole number 6, you get a prize. The prize is you get a new piston and you get a new rod, and hopefully the crank ain't messed up. All right, that's there you go. Wow. Wow. I ain't had a plug look like that in a while. All right, we found a problem. All right, guys, well, we are making some progress here. Let me show you what we saw. So we're turning over the motor, and it got wedged, it got stuck, so we had to reverse it back over. And look at there, intake valve on number 6. See how it's a little higher than the other ones, like a lot higher. So the installed height has changed. There you go. Well, why is the install height changed? Well, when we pulled the rocker arms off of it, that is the intake valve, the rocker arm. So you can see at some point, and of course the push rod is toast on this one as well, it destroyed the end of it. Right, no focus. Of course it's destroyed. But you can, I think what happened, maybe it went out of a lash adjustment is the only thing I could think is, and the push rod went from this cup and it started making its own cup. Now, we adjusted the rock arms on this probably 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago. And I mean, I guess it's possible. Maybe when I adjusted it, I put it over there and it just eventually wore itself out. Don't think that's likely, but it's possible. So it dropped a valve. It makes sense to me. Probably what happened is it just all happened. So somehow it jumped over, it got out of the cup. And so when it jumped out of the cup, now that rocker arm is going to have, that cylinder is going to have way more lift. You put way more lift when you look at the difference of that cup versus how deep it would be in the rocker arm. That's probably gained maybe 50 or 70 thousandths of lift. And when you gain 50 or 70 thousandths of lift on a cylinder that has about 40 to 50 thousandths piston to valve clearance, then you get collision. And so when you get collision, most likely what happened is the piston come up, hit that valve, and then it knocked the head off the valve. And I'm pretty sure the head is off of the valve because the only way it can gain height like that is if the head comes off and then the stem is going up in the head into the guide is most likely what happened. So clearly it's probably bent. So that also confirms and makes you think that that is the accurate scenario. Is the head bent the stem, and then when it started hitting, eventually it come off, and the bent part is now come up, and of course it is wedged in the head. So yeah, fun stuff. Yeah. Drag race stuff, what can you do? I mean, that's part of it, right? So now we also just come to the realization that most likely we're gonna have to take all these studs out so that we can get the heads off because there's not much clearance there. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna snatch this one off first because this one is the one that is got our interest up. So maybe I don't see a lot of material in here. There's a couple pieces of piston here and there. That I don't understand why that would have caused. I don't understand why that would have caused the oil pressure to do what it did. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. Well, I guess maybe it does. If the lifter come up higher, the lifter was okay. But if the lifter come higher out of the no, that doesn't make any sense. Obviously we're pulling it all down, we're pulling it all apart. But maybe the rods and the crank are still good. Like I said, the rods got a lot of passes on them anyway, so we need to take rods apart and get them out of the motor anyway. So hopefully maybe all it's going to need is a piston, a little bit of welding in the chamber, and a new valve. We'll see. Let's keep going. All right, boys. Well, it is not exactly what I thought. This is the number 6 chamber. I thought it pulled the head off, but it looks like maybe the seat is gone. Maybe the seat completely collapsed or got destroyed. I don't understand exactly what happened here. Obviously, lots of carnage in the hole there. In the neighboring cylinder here, there's a piece of piston. It always amazes me how when you blow something up, carnage makes it into other chambers. I mean, that is flat. That's a piece of piston stuck in the chamber of number 4. I mean, that's insane. So this one is beat up pretty good. It's hard to tell right now if, oh, I know what's happening. We just decided to chamber soften this head. We have softened the chamber. Man, look at that. That is, wow. I can't believe the plug was not beat up worse than what it was. The way this chamber looks, the doggone, man, the plug should have been destroyed. Wow. Okay, so we're gonna have to make some decisions on what we're gonna do. It's pretty radical. There is a flat hole right in the middle of that piston. I mean, that is, wow. Wow. The carnage is real, guys. The rest of the pistons look fine. I can't really see down in there real good, but it's probably fine. It might have a little spot right here in this little area. We'll go ahead and get the whole motor out today and get it on the engine stand at least. All we got left to pull it out is these bolts. Then we got to loosen the transmission bolts, which are super easy to get to because they're in there, and crawl up under there and get the torque converter bolts out. All right, hang on. All right, guys, so we were just looking a little closer, and I did point it out a minute ago, but a little bit closer there. That is not piston. 100% is not piston. Down on top of the piston down in there are these pieces. And this is 100% valve seat. Valve seat is, these are steel. And so the valve seat it probably come apart, cracked, and then disintegrated. So now we're going to get to buy another set of heads, most likely, because now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should probably replace all the seats. But then at that point, you know, it's so expensive. It's so expensive to replace seats because you have 16 of them, and then the labor to put them in is the biggest thing. What all you have to do, and now we got to repair this head, so it's got to be welded all up. Once you weld it all up, then of course it's got to be remachined. I don't think it would be feasible to do that anymore. So new set of heads. So these are just, luckily, people don't believe it, but these are just out of the stock profilers. There's the part number, 176-21. So we'll go to Profiler's website, see what they got available. We're going to go ahead and get the motor out of it real quick, since we are going to need to pull the bottom end apart. But it may need some cylinder work as well down in there. There's a chance that there's some damage down in the bore. All right, guys, so we got almost all the oil drained out of this thing. Everything's mostly unhooked, but something we didn't think about is the fuel cell is full. So we gotta get it out. The easiest way to get this out, we took the fuel pump belt off, and we'll use this drill here, and we'll turn it, and it'll fill up the fuel jug. So very, very easy to do. That's it. All right, guys, well, I guess that's going to do it for today. We got the engine out. I do not have the right bolts for the engine stand, so I got to go get those tomorrow, and then we'll toss the engine on the engine stand, and then the fun begins on trying to get a game plan on what we're going to do. So at minimum, thinking about this today, we can get another set of heads, get them top fuel hooped, then the heads are done. Or we can get a bare casting of those heads and then get the bare ones and take my parts other than obviously the tore up one, and then put those in and still get them top fuel hooped. Put a piston in it. I think the sleeve is probably going to be okay. It's got a little bit of damage on it, but from what I can feel with my fingers, we'll run a berry home through it and I think we might be okay. Now, the other thing, of course, we got to think about, the rods have 200, 250, 300 passes on them. So it probably would not be wise to reuse those rods again. I just don't think that would probably be a good idea. We've done a lot of things that are not good ideas, though. You know, I'm the king of, well, that might not be a good idea, and I go, let's send it. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it works for a little while, sometimes it doesn't work at all. So today, you know, we got broken parts and pieces. We got a game plan on the other car. The Mustang is coming together. The problem is we don't know how quickly I can get that one together. I've got everything to do the big block, though. The big block is ready, other than, I mean, finishing it. But I don't have any parts to buy for the big block other than the crank trigger. And there's a crank trigger right there on my small block. Of course, the bracket's not going to work, but I might be able to get just a big block bracket. And then we can use that 36-1 crank trigger there. That would save us some money. Other than that, though, I mean, man, I don't know. We're almost ready. We got some thinking to do. I can probably have my stuff stripped out of here in a short period of time. So we may do that. I don't know. We got some thinking to do. Stay tuned. We'll see you. Milton, appreciate him coming over today, helping out. And we're done. Later, guys. See ya.